Episode 2. Whoever said losing weight won't make you happy lied. How living in a smaller body opened the door to freedom and joy for me. Whoever said losing weight won't make you happy lied. And I know that might sound very controversial, especially coming from someone who used to publish a body positive magazine, especially in a world where you're told that weight loss doesn't change anything and that happiness is completely independent of the body you live in. So let me be really clear before we go any further. I do not believe that you need to lose weight to be worthy. And I don't believe that smaller bodies are better bodies. And I don't believe that weight loss magically fixes your life. But I do believe that losing weight changed my lived experience in ways that made happiness more accessible, not because of the scale, but because of freedom. And that's what I want to talk about today. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Shannon. I have lost 100 pounds naturally, and I've kept it off for 7 years. This is the Strong Journey podcast, where we take life one step at a time and where I share what worked, what didn't, and everything I wish I knew along the way. This episode is not about convincing anyone to change their body. It's about telling the truth about what changed for me when my body changed. For a long time, I lived in a larger body, and I also lived a full life. I had friends, I laughed, I worked, I loved. But what people don't always talk about is how much mental and physical energy it takes just to exist when your body feels like it's working against you. Not emotionally, but physically. The truth is, I wasn't always fully participating in my life. I was often watching it from the sidelines, and it wasn't because I didn't want to do things. Oh, I wanted to do things. It was because every time a new experience came up, it came with a mental checklist I had to run through my mind before I could even say yes. Will it hurt my body? Will I fit? Will I be able to do this the way that everyone else can? Will I get tired halfway through and have to pretend that I'm fine? Will there be chairs that will work for me? Will people stare? Will I be embarrassed? Will I regret agreeing to do this? Before I could enjoy anything, I had to mentally rehearse failure, and that takes an enormous amount of energy. It wasn't just physical, it was mental. My brain was constantly scanning for risk, discomfort, judgment, and escape routes. So even when I did say yes, I wasn't fully present. Part of me was always bracing, managing, calculating, preparing. That's the part that people don't talk about. Living in a larger body wasn't just about carrying extra weight. It was about carrying extra mental load everywhere I went. And here's what changed when I lost weight. And this is the part that people get really uncomfortable talking about. I gained freedom. Freedom to move without planning every step. Freedom to say yes without my body and brain negotiating against me. Freedom to exist without constant fatigue. I could tie my shoes without holding my breath or getting out of breath. I could bend down and stand back up without my back screaming at me. I could walk without constantly wondering how long before the pain would start. I could sit in a chair without scanning the room first, checking the arms and the width, whether it looks sturdy enough to hold me. I could get up off the floor without planning it in advance and without needing something to grab onto, without feeling embarrassed if someone was watching me. I could go swimming without anxiety, without worrying about how I looked, how I moved, or whether I'd regret it. I could go kayaking. I could go parasailing. I could just try things just because it looked fun, not because I'd already figured out how I was going to survive it. I could walk longer, move easier, recover faster, but more than any of that, I could live inside my body instead of managing it all the time. I wasn't constantly negotiating with it, bracing for it, working around it. I was present. I was participating. I was actually living my life. And here's the key part. That freedom created joy, not because weight loss equals happiness, but because fewer physical barriers meant that I could participate in more experiences. Happiness showed up more often because I could do more things that made me feel alive. Now, I want to say this carefully because nuance really matters. There are people in larger bodies who do all of these things. There are people in smaller bodies who are deeply unhappy. This is not a universal truth. This is my truth. And denying people the ability to talk their lived experiences because it doesn't fit a narrative helps no one. We can believe in body autonomy and acknowledge the physical reality at the same time. Both can be true. You've probably heard the phrase, losing weight won't make you happy, and there is truth in that. Weight loss doesn't fix your relationships. It doesn't heal trauma. It doesn't suddenly create self-worth out of nothing. It doesn't magically solve every problem in your life. If you're unhappy before, weight loss alone won't do that inner work for you. But here's what often gets left out of the conversation. Weight loss can change how easily you move through the world. It can expand what's physically up to you. It can reduce pain, fatigue, and limitation. It can lower the mental and physical effort required just to exist. And when moving through the world becomes easier, when your body stops being something you have to constantly manage, you suddenly have more energy, more space, and more presence in your life. That doesn't create happiness out of thin air, but it does remove the barriers to experiencing it. And for me, that made all the difference. Another thing that changed, I stopped negotiating with my body all day long. Before, everything felt like a calculation. As I said, will I fit? Will I get tired? Will this hurt? Will I regret this? Will people stare at me? Now, my body feels more like a partner, not a project. And that mental freedom, that is just as powerful as the physical change. And here's where my behavior change brain really kicks in. Weight loss didn't make me happy. What changed everything was consistency. It was keeping those small promises to myself, not once, not perfectly, but over and over and over again. It was showing up even when it was uncomfortable, even when the motivation was gone, even when progress felt slow. Every time I followed through, something shifted. It wasn't just changing my body, I was rebuilding trust with myself. And when you trust yourself, your nervous system settles. You stop living in reaction mode. You stop swinging between all or nothing. That's where the happiness came from, not from shrinking, but from alignment. My actions finally started to match the life that I wanted to live. And when those two things lined up, peace and confidence followed. If you're listening to this thinking, does this mean I have to lose weight to live a good life? No, absolutely not. But if you're feeling stuck, if your body feels like a barrier, if you are craving more freedom, more energy, more ease, you're not wrong for wanting that. And you're not broken for acknowledging it. So here's what I want you to take with you today. You don't need to change your body to be worthy of joy, but you are allowed to change your body if it gives you more freedom to live your life fully. Happiness isn't about the number on the scale. It's about how much of your life you're able and willing to participate in. And sometimes freedom is the thing that lets happiness find you. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love for you to subscribe, leave a review, or share it with someone that you think might need to hear it. And remember, this isn't about perfection. It's about progress. One step, one choice, one day at a time. I'm Shannon, and this is Strong Journey.